scanning from your body, just feeling, just noticing what you notice. You might notice a tension here. You're curious about this spot there. That place feels relaxed. Down through your neck, your shoulders, between your shoulder blades. Maybe circle your shoulders a little bit to wake that area up a little bit. It's pretty tight for most people. Down through your rib cage, your mid back, your low back, in through your belly, and then all through your pelvis, your hips on the outside, your hips deep on the inside, your glutes, the fronts of your thighs, down through your legs, your hamstrings, your knees, your calves, down into your ankles and your feet. So you're just having a snapshot sensation of what your body feels like. And then the first thing we're going to do is just soften our knees a little bit. So your knees are just slightly bent. And notice if you go back to straight knees, notice what that feels like, and then soften your knees, slightly bent, noticing what that feels like. And slowly back and forth. Everybody go to straight knees and notice, does your knees being straight, not locked, not really tight, but just straight, does that feel more natural? Or does it feel more natural to have your knees slightly bent? So one of the keys here, so what we're getting towards is having tension that's in the head, the neck, the shoulders, the entire torso, and then especially in the hips. That we're practicing, we're learning. Tai Chi is all about this, of letting that tension go. Softening your knees can be a first step in doing so. And that it brings it literally brings your center of gravity in here, brings it just a little bit lower. For most people, it also will bring maybe a mild relaxation, even if it doesn't feel natural, even if it doesn't feel normal. And so there's this point, forgot exactly what I said, connecting to the ground for boundless energy, is there's a point in the bottom of the foot here. I'm not asking you to raise your foot like this, but just giving you the idea here that here's the ball of my foot. You can see where my sock is more worn there, and then it's bony through there, and then slightly back, there's a little soft spot in there. And if you had a ball, a tennis ball, or any sort of small ball like that lying around, and you pressed your foot, that soft spot in there, you'd probably feel something wake up in a little bit there. So if you come next week, bring yourself a ball. Just a tennis ball or even a rolled up bath towel, rolled up really, really tight and then rubber banded together would work too. And bring that next week and we'll play with the ball on the foot there. So that spot on the bottom of the foot in Chinese medicine and in Tai Chi, that's called the bubbling well. And when that area softens and opens up, and that's the what we call grounding, sinking down into the earth, it'll literally feel like that your foot, the weighted foot. Right now we've got weight on both feet, but through most of Tai Chi, weight is on the left foot or it's on the right foot. And sinking down into that point there, relaxing into it, your foot will start to feel like it's like being magnetically attracted to the ground. I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think there's any sort of magnetism going on. Our bodies aren't made that way. But you are relaxing. We tend to walk around with a tremendous amount of unnecessary tension in our bodies, which causes untold health costs. We're just stressed, we're tight. Our blood can't pump in the same ease if it's pumping through a tight body. Your nerves can't conduct their signals as well as they could if it's always being constricted and going through a tight body. So the grandmaster, my grandmaster of this form, William Chen, he's 88 and he's still teaching Tai Chi. He still blows my mind. It's not something I can describe over Zoom, what an experience it is being in the same room with him and watching him do Tai Chi. It's just, you wouldn't believe me. So let's back to the form here. Let's come back with your heels together, toes off 45 degrees. So I'm going to encourage you not to watch me. You can even close your eyes if you feel like you're fine with that and you're not going to lose your balance. But listen to my voice, because what I tell you through my voice will tell you everything that you need to do. In fact, I could turn my camera off and guide you through doing Tai Chi without you needing to see anything. So we're going to start with preparation here. With your knees slightly bent, let your belly go. Let your hips be heavy. Your knees might soften even a little bit more when you do that. You're letting your weight sink down into those bubbling wells in both feet. And when your weight is in your bubbling wells, you won't have a ton of weight on your heels. You'll have some. You'll have just enough weight on your heels that if you were to take a business card and slide it underneath your heel, it would slide under there fairly easily. If you've got your weight way back on your heels, there's no way you'd try to jam a business card under there and the business card would just crumple and it'd fold because it can't win against your heel. So with your knees soften and your weight just slightly forward, not so much that your heels rise, but just slightly forward. And then the next step is imagining that there's a bucket of water in your belly. Close your eyes for this part. And now picture that bucket of water is pouring down into your right leg. And as that water pours into your right leg gets heavier. And your weight shifts to be 100% on the right foot. And now pick up the left foot and step it to the side just a tiny bit, maybe 2 or 3 inches, and turn that left foot so the toes are pointing straight ahead, so they're no longer off pointing like a duck. And then soft belly, soft hips, and thinking of your whole pelvis is like a pendulum. And that pendulum is swinging down, as a pendulum will do, towards the center as your weight shifts. And now it's a little upswing as your weight shifts onto the left foot. So now your weight is 100% on the left foot. So pivoting on your right heel, bring your right foot and your right leg. Whole leg rotates around, so now it's parallel with the left foot. Toes are pointing ahead. And again, letting your belly go, allowing the pendulum to swing back towards the right, and you're going to stop when you get to the middle, when your weight's equal on both feet. Okay. All right, you can go ahead and open your eyes if you have them closed. And just, you can let go of what we just did there. If you want to straighten your knees, whatever's most comfortable. And just scanning through your body again, starting from the top, just quickly going through your head, your neck, your torso, your shoulders, your entire pelvis, all of your hips, down through your legs, your ankles and your feet. And just noticing, does anything feel different? Does anything feel, maybe different is the best word you can come up with. Maybe something feels more relaxed. Possibly something feels more tense. And maybe you don't know. Maybe you're not sure. It's like, well, maybe it feels different, but I'm not entirely sure. That's okay. It's less important for you to notice something specific. It's great if you do, because then your mind has something concrete to compare it to. Having a vague sense that something's different, us Westerners are not too fond of that. We like things that are solid and clear and concrete. But what I'll say to you, the gift of a vague sensation, if you're having one, that something feels a little different after the little exercise we just did. Is a really good sign. In my language, that means that your awareness of your body and of your movement is opening into places that may not normally notice. And for change to happen, Tai Chi can change your body. It can change your life. It can change your health. It can change a whole lot of things. But a requirement for that change to happen is that the movements, the way that you have habitually moved through your life, the way that you reach for things, the way that you walk, the way you go up and shake someone's hand, the way that you use a computer, the way you drive a car, all those things have to change, not overnight. And some of these things that you might spend I'll probably spend the rest of my life changing some of these movement patterns. But I'll tell you, driving a car, using a computer, walking, hiking, backpacking, lifting things. I just lift 1,000 pounds of baled hay twice in the last week. And Tai Chi helped me do that. So it's saying, if you got something concrete, great. If you didn't and just got a vague sensation, or you didn't get anything at all, then the act of you paying attention it's like learning to play an instrument. You can't get any better if you never pick up the instrument and try. So we'll start with preparation here again. Heels together, toes pointing straight, or pointing off 45 degrees. And your knees are straight but not locked. And go ahead and take a deep breath. And on your exhale, softening your knees so they bend just a little bit. If you'd like, you can close your eyes, not necessary. And picture a big bucket of water in your belly. And it's slowly starting to pour its water down into your right leg, like your right leg is a tall, hollow bucket. And your weight will shift 100% onto the right foot. And then picking up the left foot, stepping it to the left just a little bit, and turn the foot so it points straight ahead. And then allowing your pelvis, your whole hips to pendulum. So your knees will soften a little bit. So your pendulum of your pelvis swings down towards the midline between your feet. And then as it crosses the midline, it starts to swing up just a little bit. And your weight shifts, so now it's 100% on the left foot. Pivoting on your right heel. The pivot's going to come from, it's going to originate. The action of it is happening in your right hip. So the right hip makes your whole right leg turn around, and the right foot turns to point straight ahead, parallel with the left foot. And then soft belly, letting it go again. Letting your pelvis pendulum back to the middle, so your weight's now 50-50 on each foot. Okay, we'll do that one more time. So heels together, knees straight, toes off 45 degrees. Deep breath. And on your exhale, pouring that water into the hollow, tall bucket of your right leg, letting the weight sink down all the way to the bubbling well of the right foot. And then picking up the left foot, turning it, stepping out, and soft belly penduluming your pelvis down and towards the left. So your weight is now 100% on the left foot. Now notice if there's any holding or tension, unnecessary holding or tension in your left hip. Can you relax your belly? Can you relax your left hip? Can you allow even more weight to sink down into that left bubbling well, bottom of your foot? Pivoting on the right heel, turning the foot to face forward, and then soft belly, penduluming back to the middle. So your weight is equal on both feet. Okay, so beginning, movement number 2 is from here, the arms rise up and the hands are totally relaxed. And when the arms get up to no higher than shoulder height, it could even be lower, but you don't want to have your arms go higher than your shoulders at all. And then the hands unfurl like a fern coming up, and the fingertips wake up. Turn to the side. Fingertips are alive. Like if you're about to reach with both hands. You're not actually going to reach, but you want them to be alive. Like there's an intention of an action there. And then the hands relax again, letting go, and the wrists come back towards your shoulders. So now you're kind of a praying mantis sort of position here. And then the elbows drop towards the floor and the hands wake up like that, facing forward. And then the hands go asleep again, relaxing, and the arms come back down where they started. Okay, so we'll do that again. So in this case, there's no weight shift. There's nothing else happening. You want to keep just the weight in both bubbling wells and both feet. And hands totally relaxed, rising the arms no higher than shoulder height, then waking up the hands as if you're reaching for something without reaching. And then hands go sleep again and come back towards your shoulders so you're like in this praying mantis position. Elbows drop towards the floor, the hands wake up, and then the hands and the arms go asleep again, coming back on down. So let's do that one more time. Arms rise, hands relax, hands wake up, hands and arms go to sleep, relaxed, back towards the shoulders. Elbows drop, shoulder blades squeeze together slightly, and the hands wake up. And then arms and hands go to sleep again, coming down by your side. Okay. So Tai Chi originated as a martial art. Tai Chi Chuan, which is what I'm teaching you all. It's a version. There's Tai Chi Chi, there's Tai Chi Qigong. Some people just call it Tai Chi. Tai Chi translates as supreme ultimate or the grand ultimate. Chuan translates as fist. So you could say the whole thing translates as supreme ultimate fist. So I'm sure every one of you is hot to trot to go out there and start busting out your Tai Chi fist and beating people up, right? Yeah, that's why I'm here, sure. No, right? No, the same motions that can train your body to become an excellent martial artist. Those same motions are training your body for the health benefits why probably most of us are here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the martial history and the martial aspect of this. So you have an understanding where these moves came from. Why did these develop? Think back in history before gunpowder, and even metal like swords and knives and shields and all that. I mean, metal is expensive. It's still expensive today, but it was a hard thing to come by. And so if you didn't have a weapon, you needed to have, you know, your body, your fists and your elbows and your knees and whatnot to be able to defend yourself. And most fights in the real world, if you were to fight a person for real, were to the death, because that's what it was about. It was my life or yours. And Tai Chi is considered by some to be the most deadly of the martial arts because it's so fast. Somebody trains themselves in Kung Fu or Karate or Taekwondo for a long time, they're going to build up quite a bit of tension in their body because that's the style of the art. You don't see an 80 or 90-year-old Kung Fu master very often. Their bodies just can't do it anymore. When they're 30 and 40, no problem, but it's not sustainable. And back in the day, people didn't live that long anyway, so they didn't get to be the 80 years old and find out that their Kung Fu maybe made them a good fighter, but didn't help their health. Where Tai Chi does both. And because of that, it takes longer to learn in terms of a martial art, which I'm not going to go into why it takes longer to learn, but just that it is. So briefly, what the martial application, so the very first exercise preparation, it doesn't have a martial application. It's just a nice way to start Tai Chi, to start getting your mind and your body into a place of relaxation and bringing your center of gravity down, making your bubbling wells alive. And so, but the second movement, beginning, does have a martial application. I don't have a person here to demonstrate with, but imagine standing in front of me, there's a person here, and they're going to come down like this with both of their fists. They're going to come down and they're going to bop me in the face, or they're going to hit me on the chest or on the shoulders or something like that. And we practice Tai Chi slowly, but in martial application, it might go and connected from the ground, connecting all of the joints in the body, and done with speed and connected to the ground, to the ground, to the ground, to the ground we go. It will knock that person flat on their ass. It's so fast, it's so strong. It's like when their fists come down like that, they suddenly feel like they've hit a rock. That's if you're good at it. I'm not that good at it because I'm not a martial artist. I don't practice the martial side of it enough. I use it for my gardening, for doing body work, for hiking, backpacking, cross-country skiing, stuff I enjoy doing. I don't really care. The martial side's interesting, but it's not where I spend my time. So that's a martial application there. And then here, you've got an opponent on each side, and maybe they're both coming in with a roundhouse kick at the same time. We'll go Hollywood here. Keanu Reeves, Hollywood. Both of them are coming around with this big kick that's aimed for somewhere up here and me at the same time. And I come up and go boing, like that. And suddenly they've kicked their foot or their leg into a steel rod. And it's going to hurt like heck to them. If I do it right, it doesn't hurt me at all. It feels strong and I feel the impact, but it doesn't hurt because I don't have tension in my body. I have just the right amount and it's all connected. So that's all I'll say about the martial application. So let's do the first two here again, and then we'll move on to number 3. So start here at preparation Heels together, toes off 45 degrees. Taking a deep breath. On your exhale, letting your knees soften and allowing that bucket of water to pour into your right leg. Letting your weight sink down deep into your right foot in that bubbling well region. And picking up the left foot, stepping it out to the side slightly and turning it so it faces forward. Swinging the pendulum of your pelvis over to the left. And then pivoting in your right hip on your right heel to bring the right leg and foot around so it's parallel with the left. And then letting your belly go again in case any tension is built up in there. And swinging your belly and your pelvis pendulum back towards the middle. And then beginning, hands asleep, but arms awake, rising up, and then hands wake up as if they're reaching out, but not reaching. And then hands and arms asleep as they come back towards your shoulders. And then waking up again. Elbows drop heavy, hands wake up facing forward. And hands and arms asleep coming back down. Movement number 3. Ward off with the left hand, shifting your weight 100% onto the left foot. You're going to hold an imaginary ball. Your right hand's on top, left hand on the bottom. Sinking down into that left hip and that left bubbling well, because that's all of your weight, 100%. Just the weight of your right leg on the ground. You don't have to hold any weight off of the right leg, but you're not putting any on it. And pivot on your right heel, so your right foot turns 90 degrees. And make sure your knees are bent as you do this. A little bent. And then soft knees, penduluming your pelvis to the right. So your weight is now 100% on the right foot. You're going to pick up your left foot. You're going to step it out and slightly to the left. And then don't step out too far. Just step out maybe an inch into the left, just a little bit. And then soft knees, bending your knees a little bit more maybe. Penduluming your pelvis towards the left foot, shifting your weight. And when you've got about 70%, most of your weight on the left foot, that's the energized point. The hands separate apart. The left hand comes forward, like you're serving, you're not serving out here, but you're serving close to you, like a butler. You're serving a tray with some maybe tea and cookies on it. The right hand's going to come down by your side, and this is a block. And the right foot, I need some different colored socks for this floor, but the right foot has gone from 90 degrees to the right, turns around 45 degrees this way now. So let's do that again. That's a lot more complicated movement than the first two. So let's just do number 3. So we've finished the beginning. The hands have come down. Ward off with the left hand. Deep breath on your exhale. Soften the belly, soften the knees. Pivoting your pendulum pelvis towards the left foot. Hold the ball, right hand on top. And then pivoting on your right heel. The right foot is now 90 degrees to your left foot. And soft knees, penduluming your pelvis towards the right foot. So you're 100% on the right foot now. Pick up the left and step it out and slightly to the left. And you're just resting the heel on the floor here now. Here's the first, one of the first strong balance practicers. Is you're weighted on, you're supported on this leg. Now you've picked up the left leg and reached it out. Our Western training is we want to shift our weight over there quick. In Tai Chi, we don't do that. We put the heel down first, no weight, just the weight of the leg. Soft knees, penduluming your pelvis towards the left bubbling well. And when you're grounded there and you've got about 70% of your weight energized, serve the chi, block the dog, and the right foot rotates around. Okay. Let's do that again. So we've done the boop, 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 our beginning motion. Ward off with the left hand. Deep breath. On your exhale, letting your belly go, letting your pelvis pendulum towards the left bubbling well. Your weight sinks down 100% left foot. Hold the ball, right hand on top. Pivoting on the right heel. So it's 90 degrees to the left foot. And when I pivot, I lift up the foot just slightly and pivot so I don't have to drag my foot across, especially on carpet like this. I lift the foot up a little bit so it's just the heel contacting the floor. And then as soon as you've pivoted the foot, put the foot back down. But no weight there yet. Now shifting your weight, penduluming, swinging your pelvis, keeping your knees slightly bent. So you shift your weight 100% onto the right bubbling well. And step out and slightly to the left. And then letting your belly go, shifting your weight, penduluming towards the left bubbling well. And when you're grounded and solid on the left foot, energize. Serve the tea, push the dog away, and bring the right foot around 45 degrees. Okay. So what I just, if you were watching the camera that time, I did what I said. I didn't do what the Tai Chi movement normally is. What I said was to serve the tea, and that's personally, that is how more I would serve it. Versus when I think of an English butler and he holds the tray, the silver platter, out more in front here and not so much out like this. So more of a stately look sort of thing. And it's better body mechanics. It's better Tai Chi. So it's not out here like this. It's more here like this. And so the martial application of this is there's several of them. Is after this is a whole martial application. Somebody could be coming up with their Tai Chi motion here, and I could be coming down. And if I'm more connected to the ground than they are, then I'll win. And they won't be able to beat me going up, but that would be hard. So then we're going into holding the ball. This ball could be small, maybe let's say about the size of a person's head. And then I'm still holding their head, and suddenly I'm over here, their head's gonna come with me. And now I'm stepping out here, and then I don't know what would happen if one hand pivoted their head this way and the other hand pivoted their head. I think something bad could happen to their neck. As gruesome as that sounds, so sorry about that. Anyways, that could be a martial application there. It's called ward off, is that this block here, this is a block. So if somebody were coming up with whatever, something coming, a foot or a hand or an elbow, forearm, a leg, this done strongly, connected all the way through to the spine, to the pelvis, and then down to the ground there. Done well, I'll be relaxed, but this will be like a steel rod. And when they hit that, they will regret it. And I won't, because it won't hurt me. For somebody who's really good at that, that's the theory. For the rest of us, they're probably just gonna feel stronger, gonna feel more stable. You may never have a situation, hopefully you'll never have a situation where you need to defend yourself in such a way like that. But if you do, if you practice this a lot, like 5,000 times, you'll get really good at it. And you would be able to defend yourself doing that. But you're just standing with your knees, comfortably straight. They're not Tai Chi bent or anything like that. And just starting at the top of your head, scanning through your head and your neck, just noticing what it feels like there now. Down into your shoulders, to your upper back, into your whole rib cage. Noticing the places where your ribs connect to your spine in the back, and where the ribs come around and connect to the sternum in the front. Noticing your belly, your hips, your legs, your knees, your lower legs, and then down into your feet. And if you've got a little space where you're at, just walk around the room a little bit. We didn't walk around the room before we started this Tai Chi today, so you don't have necessarily a real direct comparison. But see if you notice walking around the room, what does it feel like? Is there anything that feels different than you thought it might have? Tai Chi is called an internal art, meaning the power that we can get through the actions of Tai Chi comes from inside the body. I mean, in my opinion, the power doesn't originate from inside the body. The power originates from the field of gravity that we live in. And if we can align our bodies with gravity and relax and get out of the way of gravity and let gravity work through our body, we can use that to our advantage. Ground reaction force, if you want to go Google that and go down a deep rabbit hole. And if you can understand that, come back and talk to me, and I'd like to hear what you got from it. Ground reaction force basically means, I asked my Tai Chi teacher, Bob, who is an engineer. I said, Bob, can you explain ground reaction force in a way I can understand? And he said, so when you put your foot down on the ground and you put weight on that foot, the earth bends just a little bit. If you think of the whole earth as an air-filled balloon, it's not, but it does have, the liquid internal magma and the liquid core and all that. And then we've got this thin crust. Most of the planet is liquid of solids. And so, I mean, it's mind-blowing to think about the earth flexing like stepping on a balloon. But he said that's essentially what's happening on such a microscopic level. But when we let go, if you step down on if you stood on a giant balloon or even a trampoline, you step down on it. When you start to lift your foot up, the earth or the trampoline or the balloon springs back, and that energy travels up your leg. Now, if you're relaxed enough and you're not tense and you're not stopping that flow through the tension in your body, then you get a benefit from that spring. That's where the bubbling well, the bubbling spring idea comes from. So for all of us, you may have parts of your body that don't move as well as others. Maybe you have a shoulder that is restricted. It's got a history of some sort. Maybe you've had surgeries. Maybe you've had frozen shoulder. Or it could be a hip. It could be a knee. It could be anywhere. It could be your spine. Tai Chi is not a one-size-fits-all activity. You can learn how to do it in a way that is meaningful to your body, which means it's going to look different. So if you've got a restriction in a shoulder here that it doesn't like to raise higher than this, and maybe that's kind of pushing it. Maybe it would be more comfortable if it was like this. Then that would be your beginning motion. You wouldn't be coming all the way up to here. I spent a lot of time coaching people to really don't push things. Don't try to do what I'm doing, because your body doesn't work the same way mine does, or the person next to you in class. So we'll start at the very, very start with preparation, heels together, toes off 45 degrees, with your knees straight but not locked. We'll go ahead and begin. Take a deep breath. On your exhale, let your belly relax, let your knees soften, and let your weight pour into that right leg, down into the bottom well. 100%. Picking up the left foot, turning it and stepping out. So your foot is straight ahead. And then letting the belly go, penduluming your pelvis. So it swings down and then slightly up as your weight shifts onto the left foot. Pivoting on the right heel, making the pivot happen in the right hip. So it's now parallel with the left foot. And then penduluming, letting your belly go again, back to 50% on each foot. And beginning. Arms rise, hands relaxed. And then hands wake up, reaching, but not reaching. And then belly relaxed, arms and hands relaxed, coming back towards the shoulders. And then waking up for the Energize. Elbows drop, shoulder blades squeeze slightly together, and the hands wake up, fingertips alive. And then relax the hands and the arms back down. Ward off with the left hand. Sinking your weight, pouring it into the left foot, 100%. Hold the ball, right hand on top. Pivoting on the right heel. So the right foot is now 90 degrees to the left, and the weight is still 100% on the left foot. And then relax, soft knees, penduluming your pelvis towards the right, bubbling well. And when you're solidly on the right, step out on the right heel, left heel, to the left slightly. Soft knees, shifting your weight, swinging the pendulum of your pelvis towards the left, bubbling well. And when you're grounded there, energize. All three of those motions, both hands and the right foot, all happen all at the same time. Right. All right. So we're out of time. Thank you for coming. We will say goodbye to each other in a very traditional Tai Chi way. We open left palm and soft right fist. It's not clenched tight, it's just soft. And we touch them together. And then we bow towards each other. And this means, the left hand means I come in peace. The right hand says, but I mean business if necessary. It's a gesture, it's not a threat. It's a gesture of goodwill. It's a sign of, I have a boundary. I'm a person. I'm asking you to respect me. If you disrespect me, I will whip out a can of whoop ass. And hopefully we'll never get there because you know that I come in peace.